We all okay, Kemi? Thank you. Good evening, members, and welcome to this evening's meeting of the Planning Committee, which is being held remotely. We're recording this meeting, and the recording will be available on the Council's website following the meeting. The meeting is being streamed live on the Council's YouTube channel, and the link is provided on the Council's website. Please note that any comments posted in the chat feed of the Council's YouTube channel during the recording of this meeting will not be monitored by the Council. All mobile devices should be switched off or set to silent. The meeting is not interrupted by ringtones. Please switch your profile to mute unless you are speaking. The procedure for each item is that the planning officer will present their report, and then committee members will then have the opportunity to ask any technical questions for clarification. The planning officers will then read out any written statements that have been received by members of the public on a particular item. The meeting will then be adjourned to enable those that have given notice that they wish to address the committee on a particular item to do so. Each person that will be invited along will be invited into the Zoom via the Zoom link and will have 3 minutes to give their views. Once all comments have been given, the meeting will be reconvened for members of the committee to discuss their application and reach a decision. Agenda item number 1, any apologies for absence?
Apologies for absence received from Parish Councillor Macpherson Davies, and Councillor Schrader is substituting for Councillor Rima for the duration of today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Councillor Schrader. And at this point, I'd also like to welcome back to the Planning Committee Councillor Brown and thank Councillor Reid for all of her work over the last year on the committee. And I'm sure I speak for all members in doing so. Item number 2, any declarations of interest? The only declaration of interest from me is that I have been lobbied on item number 4. Councillor Kettle, any declarations of interest?
I think it was number 4, but I'm not quite sure. I've been lobbied.
Thank you. Councillor Fellows?
No, I've not been lobbied.
Councillor Brown?
No.
Councillor Morris?
No.
Councillor Schrader?
No.
And Councillor Turner?
No for me.
Thank you. And the procedure for each item, sorry, I should have said that the procedure for each item is that once we go into the technical questions for clarification and main session, I'll go around and ask each member individually if they have any technical questions for clarification, and then if they have any comments for the main deliberation, as we have followed previously in online council and online planning meetings. Agenda item number 3, do I have your agreement to approve the minutes from the previous meeting? Councillor Kettle?
Yes, 4, sorry.
Councillor Fellows? Sorry, Councillor Fellows, you're on mute.
Approved.
Thank you. Councillor Brown?
Approved.
Councillor Morris?
Abstain.
Councillor Schrader?
Approved.
Councillor Turner?
Approved.
And I also approve, so with 6 in favour and 1 abstention, the minutes have been passed. We now proceed on to agenda item number 4, planning application number 20/00272/full at Sheddings Farm, Church Road in Dunton. And I'll hand over to Ms Pearce.
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, members of the committee. Item 4 before you this evening is before you at the request of the Chairman. It's a planning application at Sheddings Farm, which is on the south side of Church Road, which is to the west of Lower Dunton Road in the southwestern part of the borough. If you can go to the next slide, Charles, we'll bring up the aerial photo. Thank you. The proposal before you is for a general purpose agricultural building on Sheddings Farm itself. The building itself would be 15 metres wide by 30.4 metres deep, with an eaves height of 4.2 metres and a ridge height of 5.9 metres. There's an existing 2 buildings on site, agricultural buildings, that you can see there on the south side of Church Road, and it would be sited to the east of those, to the east of the existing farmyard, utilising the existing access from Church Road. There'll be no changes to the access. It will be of a similar design and scale to the existing northern agricultural building on the site that's there presently, with concrete panels to the lower sides, vertical timber Yorkshire boarding above, with the gables at each end having green cladding and a grey fibre cement roof. The western elevation, which will face into the yard and the farmyard itself, will have 2 gated bays to it. This proposal is for, as I said, is for an additional farm building on an existing farm site that is used currently for arable farming, for beef, rearing beef cattle, and also for turkey rearing. There are no current relevant saved policies in the current local plan, so we're relying heavily here on the NPPF and what the National Planning Policy Framework says, where you know there's a presumption in favour of sustainable development. Paragraph 83 of the NPPF is very clear in that we're to support in planning decisions the rural economy and its growth and expansion through all types of business in rural areas, through development and diversification, and especially of agriculture, with well-designed new buildings and the conversion of existing buildings. This site is located in the Greenbelt, where obviously there is a presumption against inappropriate development. However, the NPPF is very clear in paragraph 145 that new buildings for agriculture are a specified exception to this rule. They are therefore not inappropriate in the Greenbelt. The NPPF is also clear that we all should seek a high standard of amenity for existing and future occupiers of land. This building, as I said, is proposed by the applicant to assist in the expansion of the existing farm businesses that run on the site. They have requested that they would not like to see a condition put on to restrict the building in any way in terms of its usage, in terms of it being used for the possible use of being used for livestock. As I said, the existing farm is used at the moment for arable farming, rearing beef cattle, and for turkey rearing. During the consultation period of the application, we've had no objections from the Highway Authority, who are happy with the use of the existing access for this development. They don't believe it will result in an intensification of that would result in harm to highway safety. Environmental Health have also been consulted and are happy with the proposals and have raised no objections. We've had 5 letters of objection from local residents, and the comments of which have been summarised in the report for you, regarding the impact on the Greenbelt, potential disturbance by way of noise and odour nuisance from the expansion of this farm business. They've also raised concerns about the impact on the setting of listed buildings in the area, and the proposal that how it could impact the highway safety along Church Road. The building itself, which is shown there on the elevation, as you can see, is very, very similar to the northern building on site, but it's been orientated the other way around so that the massing along the Church Road frontage has been restricted with just the gable end part of the building. It's also set further away from Church Road than that northern building to be able to enclose the courtyard of the farmyard. Church Road has substantial hedgerows along it. It is a single carriageway, but it has decent amount of screening along that northern boundary of the site, and it is a substantial distance away from Lower Dunton Road. It's seen in the context of the existing buildings, and it has been designed and is reasonably required for the purposes of agriculture. For this reason, it is before members tonight recommended for approval, as it complies with the NPPF in terms of allowing this farming business to be able to expand and grow, and has a well-designed new agricultural building which is in keeping with the ones already present on site and has been sited in a way to respect the landscape. It is also been designed for the purposes of agriculture, so it can be used for the storage of machinery and hay, or for livestock in the future if need be. As such, it is considered that there are no reasons to justify refusal in this instance, and it's recommended subject to the conditions outlined in the report. Thank you, committee.
Thank you, Ms. Pearce. We'll go into technical questions for clarification before we invite members of the public, and we have 2 members of the public wishing to address the committee on this application. Councillor Fellows, do you have any technical questions for clarification?
Yes, thank you, Chair. With regard to, we all know it's an agricultural building in the Greenbelt, and the NPPF says that that is fine. So, you know, little chance of challenge on that. But I don't like the demands in the application that, oh, well, I want it for kind of a storage of machinery and or grain. But if I want to change that use, I want to be able to have a free hand. if he introduces cattle, and cattle, by their nature, introduces tons of effluent, and I appreciate what the local residents are saying. So is there anything that we can say, well, if you do want change of use, you have to come back? That's my only technical query.
Thank you, Councillor Fellows. Ms Pearce?
I think it would be difficult to justify trying to restrict an agricultural building when they're typically designed for the purposes that they've been put in that they've been applied for. They are designed to accommodate livestock and for hay storage and for farm machinery. Trying to divide that up and say it's going to be used for a specific use would be, you could consider that being unreasonable if a condition of such that was put onto the consent. It'd be difficult because it's got to meet the any condition has got to meet the 6 tests, and that could be seen as being unreasonable and restricting actually the deliverability of the development of what is proposed for.
Thank you. Councillor Kettle, do you have any technical questions for clarification?
Not at this particular time, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Turner?
None for me, thank you.
Councillor Schrader?
Sorry, trying to find my mic button. No questions from me, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Morris?
Just a couple. One for you, Chairman, as to the reason why you felt that it was necessary to bring this to the committee. And the other for Miss Pearce. She says that this building is going to be green. Could you tell me what colour the building the farm building that's already there is? Is it the same colour? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Morris. In relation to the question for myself, and it leads on to one of my sub-questions, which I'll ask later on. I brought this item forward to the committee. There were a significant number of resident objections at significant length, and I felt that it was right the committee had the opportunity to discuss that this evening. Ms Pearce?
Yeah, it's the same as the building you can see there on the left-hand side. So they've got the concrete panels at the bottom, then the timber vertical cladding, and then it's only the gable ends. So what you can see there on the left-hand side, that's the green cladding at the very top there. Thank you, Charles. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you. And Ms Pearce, just in relation to the point of the residents' objections, is there any more detail that you can go into that, and any ways that can be measured by the conditions that have been put in?
Yes, sure. They've put in. We've had concerns regarding they're worried about the use of they're being used for livestock. The site is already used for livestock, and Environmental Health obviously have come back with no objections in their assessment of what's been going on at the site at the moment, and what their knowledge of it, and also what the proposal how it could be used in the future. So they're concerned with the increased noise and disturbance, and any odour that would come from that, having the livestock in that building. As I said, we've had no objections raised from Environmental Health on those matters.
Thank you. Councillor Brown, any technical questions for clarification?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have 2 members of the public wishing to address the committee on this application, so we'll now go out of session and invite them in. So the first speaker is Claire Lanham. We'll now go out of session and invite them in. So the first speaker is Claire. Thank you. So Claire, I'd like to invite you to address the committee for 3 minutes. If we just pause for a moment. Anne, I presume you're doing the timing for the 3 minutes. So Claire, your 3 minutes will start and finish from looking at Anne's phone, which
Okay.
is on the screen.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. Just let me know when you want me to start.
Okay, just 2 seconds. Starting.
Thank you. So we are the owners of Sheddings Farm, and the application for this building is vital to the growth and productivity of our agricultural business. In 2013, we were granted permission for a mobile home on site to supervise our growing farming business, on the condition set out by the council that we completed a 3-year means test and submitted a 10-year business plan to show future growth and provide evidence that our farm was sustainable. The proposed building will help expand the business in line with our business plan. We need this building for all aspects of our growing business, from storage of hay and straw from the extra land we've now taken on, safe storage of our machinery, or housing livestock. Without this building, we cannot progress our business, and it could cause the business to stall or fail. We feel that the negative comments raised in the letters back to the council by the neighbours regarding this proposal are unfair and unjust. In the 10 years that we've been trying to build our business, we have heard these damning reports, as has the council, but these concerns only ever arise when we submit an application to try and progress our business. Each time these concerns have been raised regarding rats, flies, smells, environmental health have been to site, and there has never been an issue or a case to answer. As you will all have already read in the case officer's planning report, environmental health have no problem with this application. In fact, all the neighbours' concerns have been covered in the case officer's report, and she's seen no issue and no substance to what the neighbours have said. We have also had council officials come to site because of previous applications receiving objections from the neighbours, and they also found no case to answer. We have kept the siting of the proposed building in the confines of the existing working farmyard, and the design is in keeping with the other existing buildings to minimise the visual effect. We would take on board and comply with any recommendations the case officer has put in place, as we have done in the past with previous applications. We are a young family trying to grow our business and progress in life. We live on site and have young children, so certainly wouldn't want to live in a horrible environment. In these uncertain times, we need to support our local businesses, especially farmers, and help them to grow and sustain their business. We are watching businesses fold left, right and centre around us, and we don't want that to happen to us. Thank you for listening, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Claire, for addressing the committee this evening. I'd now like to invite Dick Lanham to address the committee, who will again have 3 minutes, and that will start and finish from.
Sorry, excuse me. That it was collective. We didn't know the protocol, so we just put both names down. Sorry.
But if you have any questions, we're happy to.
We're not able to ask any questions directly at this stage of the meeting, but thank you for addressing us with your points there. We'll now go back into the main session where we'll discuss the application further.
Thank you. We'll leave then. Thank you for that.
Thank you. So we'll now go into the main deliberation. Councillor Fellows, do you have any points for this discussion?
Nothing from me, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kettle?
Nothing from me, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Morris?
Sorry, couldn't unmute. No, nothing more.
Thank you. Councillor Brown?
No, only to say that I will be supporting this application, and I can't see why we wouldn't. It meets the PPF, it's appropriate development in the Greenbelt, and it's an agricultural building, so I don't have any issues with it at all.
Thank you. Councillor Schrader?
No, what she said.
Councillor Turner?
None for me, thank you.
Thank you. And I too agree with Councillor Brown that this is an agricultural building. The NPPF does encourage that and does encourage us to look favourable on this development. And I'm encouraged by the officer report, and particularly in relation to the objections that were received by neighbours, the work that our own council environmental health team and our own officers have done to respond to that and provide evidence for us this evening, and are comfortable with the application that we see. So I too will be supporting the application. So we'll now proceed to the vote on the recommendation on page 3, that the planning application number 20/00272 be granted conditional planning permission subject to the conditions on page 12. I will be voting in favour. Councillor Kettle?
Oh.
Councillor Morris? Sorry, Councillor Morris, you're on mute.
In favour.
Councillor Brown?
In favour.
Councillor Fellows?
In favour.
Councillor Schrader?
In favour.
Councillor Turner?
Yeah, for it.
Thank you. And so that is 7 votes in favour. That is unanimous. That is carried. We now go on to agenda item number 5, the Enforcement and Planning Appeals Update, which is on page 17 to 20 of your agenda item. Are there any comments or questions on any of the appeals? Charles, did you want to take us through anything there?
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Not really, no. I mean, it's an information item really for members. If they've got any specific queries on any of the items, that they're welcome to contact me. But if not, it's really just for noting.
Thank you, Charles. If we could just go back to the main screen just so I can see everybody on screen. I'll just do this by show of hands. Is there any member that wishes to ask a question on enforcement or appeals? I would take that as members are satisfied. So thank you all for your attendance at this evening's meeting. There is no further items for deliberation. Thank you all for your attendance. Enjoy your evening and see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening all.
Thank you.
Thank you.